In this video, we will go over the anatomy of the ethmoid bone. The ethmoid bone is one of the facial bones and one of the bones that forms the orbit. So right here, we have the ethmoid bone, which is posterior to the lacrimal bone. We have one ethmoid bone in the skull. This entire structure right here is the cribriform plate. We can see the cribriform plate right here. These tiny openings are the olfactory foramina for the olfactory nerves to pass through it, which carries the signal of smell from the nose to the brain. This structure in the middle of the cribriform plate is called the crista galli. So right here we have the crista galli. Moving to the perpendicular plate of the ethmoid bone, which is this part right here. So this is the superior part of the nasal septum. This entire structure is the nasal septum. The superior part is the perpendicular plate of the ethmoid bone. The inferior part is the vomer bone. Also, part of the ethmoid bone, we have the middle nasal canthi. So we have two middle nasal canthi, which are part of the ethmoid bone. Don't confuse the middle nasal canthi, which are part of the ethmoid bone, with the two inferior nasal canthi, which are not part of the ethmoid bone. These are two separate bones. Right here we can see the vomer, whereas this is the perpendicular plate of the ethmoid bone. On this model, if we take the nasal bone away, we take the maxilla bone away. Now we can see the ethmoid bone in pink, and this right here is the perpendicular plate of the ethmoid bone. On these two sides, we have the middle nasal canthi. Whereas right here, we can see the inferior nasal canthi, which are not part of the ethmoid bone. This is the maxilla. These are two separate bones. We can take the perpendicular plate of the ethmoid bone away. Now we have the ethmoid bone. This right here is the ethmoid bone. We have one ethmoid bone in the skull. This side faces the brain toward the anterior aspect, so we can see how it articulates with the frontal bone and with the sphenoid. This right here is the cribriform plate. We can see the olfactory foramina, these tiny openings, and this is the crista galli. On the other end, we can see the two middle nasal canthi. And the perpendicular plate of the ethmoid bone in red is attached to the ethmoid bone. So these are the two middle nasal canthi, and this is the perpendicular plate. Whereas this surface is where the cribriform plate is. On this model, we also can see the ethmoid bone. So the ethmoid bone is the bone at the roof of the nose. This right here is the nasal bone. That is the nasal cavity. And right here, we can see part of the ethmoid bone, which is cut in half. So this right here is the ethmoid bone. We can see the crista galli. We can only see half of the cribriform plate. These are the olfactory foramina, the openings. And right here, we can see part of the olfactory foramina. This is all bone. You can see the spongy bone, compact bone. That's also spongy, and this is compact. This is the sinus in the frontal bone. This right here is the perpendicular plate of the ethmoid bone. So on this model, we were able to see half of the ethmoid bone. I hope you found the videos on the anatomy of the skull bones helpful. If so, hit the like button, share the videos, and subscribe for more amazing content.